So I would like to formally welcome you on behalf of IEEE Bangalore section that despite your busy schedule, you have given us time, and that too not 1 hour, which is usually we are taking for other speakers, but you have been kind enough to graciously give us more than 2 hours for this presentation, which is need of the hour. And I know you are very, very famous and known person, but still, for the students, I would like to read your brief bio so that they all are aware that with whom they are going to listen this art and challenges of writing an IEEE transaction paper. So, friends, who is a professor at Institute of Radio Physics and Electronics, University of Kolkata, India, formerly HAL Chair Professor at IIT Kharagpur. Presently, he is Abul Kalam Technology Innovation National Fellow. He received his BTech and MTech degrees from University of Calcutta in 1987 and 1989, respectively, and started his career as an engineer in Web Telecommunication Industries Limited. After graduating with a PhD in microwave engineering from Calcutta University, he joined the same university as an assistant professor in 1994. He has researched in developing microstrip and dielectric resonator antenna technologies, defected ground structure. DGS integrated antenna is one of his major areas of contribution. He has published over 200 papers in top journals and conferences, along with a book on microstrip and printed antennas from Ville, UK 2011. He developed wireless base station antennas for a North American company which has been commercial product, namely Z1900, since 2007. Professor Guha is a fellow of IEEE INAE, which is Indian National Academy of Engineering, the National Academy of Sciences, NASI, and West Bengal Academy of Science and Technology, WAST. He is a recipient of some notable awards, which include IEEE Ramlal Wadhwa Award, APS Rajmitra Travel Grant, URSI Young Scientist Award. He is now a Vice President of West Bengal Academy of Science and Technology and Commission B Chair in the Indian National Committee of URSI. He served IEEE Antennas and Wireless Propagation Letter as Associate Editor from 2015 to 2019 and Associate Editor of IEEE Transaction on Antennas and Propagation. He is a Section Editor of INAE Letters. He has served IEEE Kolkata section as chair 2013 and 2014, IEEE APMTT Kolkata chapter as founding chair in 2004 and chair 2010-11. And then there are long brief. I think sir is giving me a hint that I should stop at this point of time, and he wants to take the time for his presentation, which is art and challenges of writing paper for IEEE transactions. So, sir, thank you very much again for joining us. And just to give you a brief that presently now we are having 650 participants who are eagerly waiting to hear you. Now the floor is yours. Please start, sir.
Thank you, Puneet. So am I clearly audible from your end?
Yes, yes.
So hopefully all of you, all the attendees of this webinar today, so you can listen to me.
Yes, sir.
I'm very grateful to Bangalore section, especially to the organizers. So Puneet Mishra is one of them. And he has been after me for a long time, so that this type of talk, particularly it is his demand that this type of talk is required for generation researchers. So you don't consider it as a talk or kind of guideline or advice. No, there is no thumb rule. It is actually what I'm going to present is actually my learning through my experience, through my journey for nearly last 3 decades. There are several interesting aspects and things that need to be considered during writing your journal paper. It is IEEE transactions does not mean that the stock is applicable to, or the content what I'm going to share with you is only for IEEE transactions. It is for any high impact journals. That means the journals of top repute or highest repute. Is there any problem?
No, sir, video is okay. We are able to hear you loud and clear. Only thing, your slide, you have changed the
Okay.
slides.
Then it will work, right? No,
Yeah, your
the
video
slide
is
is
okay.
not okay. The slide is not working. So anyway, so let me check once. Yes, 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 yes. It started working. Okay.
But
So
we are
my
not able to see, sir, that slide change.
yeah. Okay. So
Yeah.
I thought it is not. So now it is working. It's perfect.
Okay. Okay.
Well, so our starting point, friends, our starting point particularly is after you complete research or you are ready with your results for writing the paper. So one primary or basic condition that your contribution, your technical contribution, your technical results, that should be of that standard. That is the basic condition. Without this, you write for top journals, that is not acceptable. So the quality of work, the content of the work has to be very authentic, original, and worth publishing. That is the primary condition. So when we are ready with this, I'm trying to share with you that we are writing for whom. So it should be very clear from the very beginning about our mindset that we are writing for whom. So our session is not interactive, so I cannot listen to, I cannot share your, sorry, I cannot get feedback from you or your thought, your mind. So it is only one-sided. So it is a bit boring from both sides.
We
So
have made my video on, so at least you don't feel lonely.
okay, and also to the to my friends that you please listen up to the end, and definitely when I'll be talking, there may be several queries, questions, some thoughts in your mind. You keep a note on your paper. I believe half of them or most of
Otherwise, you can
them.
just
What, Puneet? No,
no. There is a
I
Q&A
think
window. Yeah, please go
you're
ahead,
going
sir.
to.
Please go ahead.
No, I will ask you one thing. That once it is over, so you will see most of your queries and questions are addressed. So even after that, if you have some question, then you can ask, or you can ask through moderator, right? Am I right? Or the question will come to the screen? Your audio is not working. Your audio is not working. Yeah, now it is okay.
Just in.
Yeah.
There is a Q&A window. If you have any questions, please type there. At the end of the presentation, I will take questions one by one, and Professor Guha will be answering them.
Okay, that's good. Still waiting for monsoon, so Kolkata is very warm and humid. So anyway, so you should be very clear that you are writing for whom. There are three possibilities. That am I writing for my reviewers? Am I writing for my readers? Or for myself? That means for yourself. So one thing is very clear that no, it is not, definitely not for yourself. So you have two options. That is readers or reviewers. It is my experience that those who are not too experienced, they think that it is definitely for readers. So no, you are not writing for readers because you'll have to cross the hurdle. That is, you'll have to face your reviewers. If they accept it, if they are happy and satisfied, then it will go to the reviewers. Sorry, to the readers. So when we are writing paper, we are writing for our reviewers. So now we need to see who are our reviewers. That means one is your contemporary group, that is your peer group, very senior expert. It is possible that very senior is your reviewer, or very young researcher. Sometimes it happens the researchers are of that category, postdocs, less experienced researchers or people, they are also your reviewers. So you cannot control, it is not in your hand. So our aim is to satisfy whatever be the group type of reviewer, we'll have to satisfy all of them. Need not worry. So in logical, systematic, careful size. Four are very, very basic requirements. I am telling you one thing. Many of you already you have experience of working as reviewer. Few young people you don't have. Question is the reviewer, when get time to review? Giving very quality time, very serious time to review. Most of the time they either they're traveling, or it is in their relaxed mood, or they're flying, or they're in the airport. They just open the laptop or the hard copy, just look at and mark few points. And mainly they try to find out the flaws, negative points in the paper or in the manuscript. So that's why if you are not full, if you are not systematic, then it is very difficult to satisfy them because you don't know their mode of work, their location where they're doing this review. Full start. Always you should keep in mind all these points. You need to prepare before you're going to start writing. What's that? What normally I do, organize the results. Suppose I work for a year or more than a year or few months. So all my important data, table, graphs, sketches, diagrams, everything I consider as my writing resources. So collate all diagrams and all these graphs in one place. Well, so you don't know, they will finally in the paper. So definitely they may not be in order, but as complete as possible document should be in your hand before you start. Why? Because I'm going to tell you why. I personally prefer after you get all these things to be printed, to be in the printed format. Because when you are looking at your documents, definitely some changes, some corrections will come to your mind. So you can mark it on the paper using different colors, using ink, pen, pencil, whatever you have. So the printed form is very useful for the correction. You can start and you should feel comfortable to start your story. Story, the term I'm using because paper writing is just not writing something in sequence. So it is not your list or preparation of list before going to market that I need these items. I'll go and purchase. Or it is not merely the statement that I have done this work. These are my results. So this is my conclusion. Paper should not be like this. A paper gives a complete view about this work. So first, after you are ready with your results, so now you need to decide how to attack. That means from the very beginning, mind is very clear. So based on that, you have done this investigation, experiments, and you have got your results. That is well and good. But in most of the cases, this is not the reality. So then you need to choose after you see the results. That is, what is the novelty of the work and how you want to link with the, the present crisis or present need of technology, the growth of technology, the trend of technology. So all these considerations you need to do, and then you should be very clear about this, that how you want to attack the problem from the very beginning. So one mind is clear about this, that I need to address the problem or I need to put this problem. to my peer group from this angle, then it will be acceptable that well, it is a good work and it is worth and we need it. So once you are ready with this, now you can start. So it is the beginning before you start. So it is your preparatory stage. So all mental and practical works you need to be ready with this. Now you can start. So what to do at the beginning? I've asked many researchers that what to do. They tell us first we write this what you have done, these results, or someone says I will write the introduction first. Someone says no, introduction at first is not what, so I'll write introduction at the last. I'll write the basic work first. Okay, so now let's see. So what is ideal or what I do? I start from title because the title will actually guide you. And title is very significant, very significant to write a paper. When you write your title, you need to follow a few points. So do not use any loose term in the title because the reviewers always try to find out flaws. This title is written in very large font, so it is eye-catching always. So as reviewer, always we go through the title first and we try to find out whether the title is flawless or not. It's very important. So don't use any loose term which you cannot establish. Better to avoid the term new or novel. I have seen many times that these terms are not liked by others because definitely your work is novel, definitely your work is new. So why should we write or repeat this term? Novel, the term novel is better to avoid in the whole text. You can use really novel if it is really novel. So that carries a different weight. So novel is very important and precise term. So always novel, new, it is not very a good idea to write. That is very important because I've experienced this that your peer group first is attracted by the title, the abstract. Forget about the whole paper. At least the abstract they can read. They have time. But the title is very important because this title gives the basic idea of the content of this work. So other people or the community will be attracted to read your paper. You always want that your paper is read by others and used by others for further development. Otherwise, there is no of doing research if it is not used or if it does not help others to improve the technology. So I would say it is actually abstract of the abstract. Title is actually the abstract of the abstract. So it is important how accurately, how nicely you can portray the content of your work through few words in the title. Try to be within 20 words. Typically, should not be too long. Always it is recommended that it should be limited within 20 words. I already mentioned the title ultimately guides your storyline and sequence of organization. That means until you decide your mind that how you will put this whole work to the community, you cannot write your title. So once you write the title, complete the title, little bit editing and changing is possible, always possible. But the basic framework, until it is done through title, it is very difficult. At least for me, it is very difficult to write or go to the next step. I'm giving you one example. I'm giving you probably 2 or 3 examples. So this is one. I hope everyone can read it. This is one title of my very age paper. New CAD model to calculate the resonant frequency of inverted microstrip circular patch antennas. You see, it is very simple and flat title. But now with maturity, if I write it, if I rephrase this title, definitely I will write this title in this format. Theoretical analysis to determine the operating frequency, inverted circular patch having wide range of variable air gap and patch dimensions. That means almost the whole work is described, that what are already done inside. So that full content, abstract of the content, is more or less given through this title. We come to the next one. You look at this title, a few words. The key words, few words are, if you put in your title, that makes the whole story very, very clean and clear. I'm giving one more example. And highlighting few areas, the few words you say. So with these words, you can make this full storyline in the paper complete. It is equally important to maintain its size very compact, no extra or additional word, unnecessary lengthy, but we want it to be comprehensive. Example 3. Creation of title. So one of my co-authors, I have collected this from him. Probably he is also present today in this group. You just follow the date and the changes. Superstraight and sidewall loaded design of Fabry-Perot cavity antenna for uniformly high gain characteristics over wide operating bandwidth. March 29. March 19. Different versions, I've changed it. So number of words is less, but it is changed to advanced design and theory of Fabry-Pérot cavity antenna for wideband operation with consistent high gain characteristics. So now you look at this, it is more comprehensive, compact. March to May, so after 1 month. Actually, the paper writing is going on, and time to time, that is, the days are the indicative time that I have edited it. Now you see, I have tried always to make it very compact, that is short in nature, but complete. An advanced design and theory of Fabry-Pérot cavity antenna offering wide bandwidth with consistent high gain. 29th June to 22 July. So almost after 1 month. Advanced design of Fabry-Pérot cavity antenna featuring consistently. Actually, words are very important when you are writing your title. Featuring consistently high gain over wide operating bandwidth. So very minor editing, but each time the editing is going to improve the sense. 11th August. Fabry-Pérot cavity antenna designed, that is advanced part has been removed with a new approach. This term is included. You see, after starting this writing, after 1 or 2 months, a new approach to achieve uniform high gain over the wide operating bandwidth. That means the focus is little bit changed in the title. 31st August, that is the final. Fabry-Pérot cavity antenna designed with a new approach for, so 2 has been changed for uniform high gain over a wide operating bandwidth. So if you follow the nature of change, so always I have tried to make it very concise and compact, but with important words or the focuses of the work. So this is published work, so nothing wrong with this. This paper was published probably in Transaction. Well, so after title, what to be written? Of course, introduction. Of course, introduction. Definitely you do believe it. And when I have discussed with my friends, senior researchers, all agreed that, and some of the authors, they consider it not 60%, it is 80%. So introduction carries the main part of the work, where it is the deciding factor that the paper is going to be accepted or rejected. Therefore, this is very important, and I'm trying to address the key things what we miss in writing introduction or writing paper. So we focus on the problem and justify why your work is important for publication. In most of the papers, we forget. We write many things, what we have done, so many narrations, words, but we forget in identifying is specifying that this is the problem and this we have solved and it is important for publication. The simple word and simple focus that is missing. Should not. Therefore, I always recommend, I never do this thing, that the known thing, known facts, as a first one or two or three sentences, better not to use, because the reviewers don't like this. So the basic structure that I have already marked here starts from here. What to be written in introduction? Those who are following this talk seriously, please try to follow this part. It's very important that what are the basic focal areas, or what is the template? First, you state the background. That is, you are working on this. Then write the recent or state-of-the-art developments, latest developments done. And then directly address the issue. That many people, they have done this, but this part is the unaddressed problem, or it is the lacunae or lacunae in earlier works. Therefore, I have tried to solve this problem. So you need to establish that your investigation is important and it is important to resolve the issue and improve the technology. Very simple. So if 4 or 5 points you cover in your introduction, then it is more than sufficient. When you are writing introduction, definitely we need to refer to other works. So better to avoid very old, too old reference or too many old reference. So you can understand that our intention is to focus on the contemporary works or significant works, especially the works in your field or in this proper area already done in last decade or last 2 decades. There is one hidden factor that most of the reviewers will come from this group, or these authors may be your reviewer. So their work, if it is relevant to your study, so definitely everyone would appreciate if you refer to his work or his contribution. It is also another part that when we are writing paper, we try to indicate some flaws, some errors in previous work, something did not addressed, but strong criticism is not recommended. So avoid strong criticism of any previous work. Even it is rubbish, it is absolutely wrong, erroneous, still your writing, your presentation should be elegant, should be more graceful, but you'll have to write it in a decent way. At the same time, when you are claiming that your work is really good and very useful, but tall claim is better to be avoided. So if it is really done for the first time, if you're 100% sure, then you can write, or you can write to the best of author's knowledge or to the best of our knowledge. This is being addressed for the first time, not beyond that. So very tall claim is not recommended by anyone. So now in introduction, your role is two. One is very robust storyteller. So you will tell the previous story, the lacunae, relevance of your work, and establish your work is good. And that's why it is a story plus you need to work as a brilliant lawyer. That is, you are putting your case before someone with good reasoning. That is, proper scientific reasoning is very important. Therefore, check 3 F's. That is, when the introduction is written, it should be fair, fatless. That is very important. Fatless means there should not be any repetition. There should not be any extra word, unnecessary explanation. And even your paper is accepted, the reviewer will comment that it is too elaborate and you need to reduce the length of the text, etc., etc. So why should you give this chance to tell? So make it very crispy, only the necessary, but not too much exaggerated or too much elaborate. That's why, so if you can maintain it, so automatically it will be very fascinating. So introduction is over. So introduction is over means your 60%, 70% load is covered. So work is done. Although physically, the lengthwise, the later part is more, but it is easy to write. It is rather easier to write. So build up your story logically based on your studies, results, and scientific documents. So it is not too difficult because you have done your work. Just few points. So if your work contains theory, sometimes it happens. So it should be described carefully, but not elaborately. Sometimes it is very difficult to cut short, but that is required. So referring to earlier works, you carefully cut short that part. Only the required equations you can keep. Unnecessary copying of equations from previous references or other works in your paper, it is not recommended. If something is developed by you, it is your own equation, you can go through. But still be too elaborate because for paper it is not recommended. So avoid repetition of earlier work or known equations. It is not acceptable. Sections and subsections. Well, very important. And it should be moderate, should not be too high, that is too many. Too many sections, too many subsections are not recommended. So typically sections and subsections, it is based on your judgment. The journal you follow, just follow the published works and their style of writing. So typically 3 to 4 sections are more than sufficient. And sometimes subsections, I hardly prefer subsections because if it is not required, better to avoid subsections. But subsections sometimes required because it helps your reader to track the flow of the work. That is required. So just one example I am showing from my work, that one section, and under this section, if I writing many things together, then it may be difficult for a reader to decipher which part is where. So only in this case, if it is one complicated or multiple words together, then you need to identify A, B, C, D, something like this. If the work is simple, single structure, single antenna, or single device, then it may be avoided. So it depends that what's the requirement. So main body of this work needs few more things. That is organization of results. This is an art of organization of results. Same results I can give to 10 people, 10 students, and 10 people will organize or reorganize the results in their own ways. So it depends on that how do you look at this, how do you interpret this, and what's your innovative mind, how to handle these results. So all depends. The same results, but presentations are different. But few things are important to be followed. That is very common. That is flow of scientific approach and sequence. So whenever you present the results, that should come in sequence. And one common problem I have seen that most of the newcomers and new authors do, when they write something, suddenly they are referring to figure 3. That is, they have described something in figure 3, but that figure 3 or that part is required when you are writing. Before you discuss figure 1, you are writing something related to figure 3. Not, that is not recommended. So please follow the second sentence or second guideline, that is, do not discuss anything relating to figure 5 before discussing figure 4. So if you are to mention something before in a text, when you are discussing something relating to figure 1, suddenly you cannot jump to figure 5. So somehow you have to manage or add a figure, add something indicative, but cannot refer to figure 5 in the context of something much before figure 5. Suppose you are writing something you have started writing your results. So always it will come in sequence, and results will come as the works progress. That is your research results progress. The sequence should be like that. And no result should appear abruptly. The context should be clearly revealed. Suddenly you think that I need to put this, it was a part of my study. Definitely you can do it. But the reason of discussing this and the context of discussing these results or putting this result, that should be clear from your end, that is author's end, and from it should be revealed to a reader. So that kind of abrupt behavior, abrupt appearance is not recommended. And it is also another important aspect which is not followed. That is, you need to explain all aspects of the furnished data. Furnished data means the two things. One is, suppose in your paper you have given 8 figures. You need to write, or a discussion when you are discussing the results, you need to write clearly about each figure. You cannot skip. At least 2-3 sentences you need to write, sometimes maybe more. Even if the result is self-explanatory, it is clear to a reader, but still you will have to write at least 1 or 2 sentences about this figure or data, whatever be this. Figure is easy to understand. And also in each figure, whatever discussed, all parameters, all aspects should be discussed under that. That means all data, those are furnished in that figure. When you are discussing this figure, everything should be discussed in a very brief way. That is one art. That should not be elaborate. So you'll have to touch, but in a very precise way. I already told that diagram, graph, table, data are same, results are same, but their presentations may be different. So it varies from person to person. So that's why some tips. Never try to present any complicated diagram. That is, if you do this thing, then it is 100% sure that your paper will be rejected. Because no reviewer is giving time to understand in a complicated figure, and it is easy for him to write one sentence that this figure is not legible, so it is difficult to understand the diagram or understand the structure. Just 1 or 2 sentences, and he will write that I'm not recommending. It is rejected. That's all. It is obvious. So it is very important, the self-explanatory, simple diagram. If you need to explain in steps, you do it. If you need to give more space, give it. But don't make things complicated. And secondly, all components, all parts, everything should be unambiguously leveled so that it is easily understandable. A reviewer will try to understand your work in a very limited time. He is not giving much time. Even it is not a reviewer. Suppose it is published. A reader will not go through the every line of your text, but he or she is interested to find the results. So when the results are properly presented, it is easy for him or her to understand clearly. This is not related to graph or table, but it is related to that. I'm saying this. When you are giving some measured data, then you try to, not try, it is our duty to give In that context, describe the measurement technique, the instrument used, the standard of this instrument, the make, year, everything. So that makes many things clear, that what kind of results, what accurate results you have got, or the fabrication tolerance, because it is after all the scientific documents, and once it is published, it will remain forever, even for 50 years. After 50 years, the new researchers will come and open, and they will try to understand what you did actually. Regarding table, I have some reservation, because it compares absolutely numerical value. So if it is really required to give some kind of numerical value, then only table is good. Otherwise, graphical presentation is preferred, because it gives some indication and visual representation. Too many tables are not very good idea for presenting your work or data. So it is a combination of two. Table is more deterministic, it is more conclusive, so it is required for some comparison. Leveling of cards. Leveling of cards, it is another important aspect. Nowadays, we are getting some colored picture. But still, if it is reproduced in black and white, or if you take the printout in black and white, that is grayscale printout, then sometimes in the modern day, many figures are useless. We cannot understand if it is not printed in color. So leveling of cards unambiguously, it is one art, and if you can give more attention, it is useful. And I give very serious thought about this caption, figure caption. Each caption should be complete and comprehensive. I may not go to text, I may not go to details of the results, but one particular figure is of my choice, of my interest. So definitely I'll go to the caption, and I will try to figure out that what it is, and all the parameters and all related information, dimension, etc. that should be completely given in the caption. But if you are repeating something, suppose you have given a list of parameters in figure 4, and figure 5, 6 actually follows the same device, then you can write parameters as in figure 4 or parameters as in figure 2. But still, you need to refer to what you actually mean, or what kind of device or devices you are working or you are showing in your result, or uh, the graphical format, what you're going to discuss. So that completeness should be there. Hopefully you are laughing, right? So this is your abstract. So when you complete introduction and the main part of the paper, then we need to write two more things. One is abstract and the other one is conclusion. I prefer to write abstract first. Okay. So what is abstract? Abstract is actually the muscle of the hero. Why? Because the hero may not be visible always. If it is published in any transactions, so you cannot download. but you can read the abstract, or in any journal, the abstract is easily available to read. So in your abstract, you can write, you can express the strength of your work. So it actually shows the strength of your work. So abstract is very important. So it is just showing the muscle of the hero. Abstract gives you limited space. Nowadays, it is probably 200 words. So it is enough. 200 words is enough to write the abstract. Abstract means abstract. It is not to write, not for writing any elaborate thing. So appropriate words and phrasing are essential. So do not make anything elaborate. I already mentioned it. It is actually advertisement of your product. And tell all of you that if you look at the advertisement in your television channels, they're selling their product, for promoting their products. They're getting time, just few seconds, 20 to 30 seconds time. So within this time, they're telling a complete story. They convey complete message about the product, and that is the art. So it is not that the 200 word is not sufficient. Actually, within 100, 110 words, you can complete writing your abstract, and that is the art. So when you are writing about your products, so you just focus on your contribution. Introduction gives you scope to write in which context you have started the work, something about the previous work. But when you are writing the abstract, it is always recommended to concentrate to write about your contribution only. It should not be elaborate. So just 4 points have been mentioned, and those who are new, you can follow it. That is, 1 or 2 sentences are the key aspects of the work. Then again, 1 or 2 sentences will tell about the novelty of the work. Remember, it should be properly textured, that is connected. Sentence 1, sentence 2, sentence 3. But the focus changes. So key aspects, then novelty, then indicate the technique you have used. If it is a new technique, it is a new approach, a new theory, if it is a new design, and what kind of experiments you have done, all will come after that, after the novelty statement. And last sentence will tell you the state of your, that is last sentence, the achievements. And the achievement, that means what you have obtained finally, and how good it is with respect to others, that is also important. And you need to write it quantitatively, not qualitatively. It is much improved. No, it is much improved, it is highly improved. It actually does not mean anything. So it has to be quantitative statement. And 2 important points I have noted just below this. One is, never use significantly improved or highly improved or much improved in your abstract. No, it is quantitative. If it is 2%, you tell about 2%. And no repetition of any item, any topic, any statement. In abstract, never repeat the same thing. because it is the smartest part of your whole presentation. So it is the advertisement of your product. So why are you going to use the time or time slot or the space slot? The space is given to you to optimize, convey the best thing of your product, of your paper within this limited space. That's all. Conclusion. That is one interesting part and some interesting observation. Better to avoid writing abstract and conclusion in the same sitting. I don't recommend anyone to write both together. Then obviously you will do one mistake. And what if you read the papers, you will see the most of the papers, you read the conclusion, it is actually the repetition of the abstract. I don't find any meaning of that type of conclusion. But the conclusion is very important part. It is given to you. It is your freedom to write. So don't repeat the content of the abstract in your conclusion. Conclusion, it is my interpretation. The conclusion means conclude with some special remarks. It is your remarks, which you did not get the scope in the whole body. So now it is your playground. During doing this work, definitely you have something in your mind so you can put on record. So you may address some critical issues relating to your work. It is also known to all of us that in one work, you cannot solve all problems. So there may be some untouched part or some part you could not address due to your limitations. So you can focus on this, that these are the positive things which can be extended in the future or which you could not due to this problem. And lastly, the work what you have done, how important it is, what is its future possibility, or if it has some weakness, that also honestly you can write, because every technique, drawback, drawback. So honestly, one researcher can write all these things in his conclusion, his or her conclusion. So nothing wrong with that. So it is your special remarks. So not to repeat the abstract. Well, so after conclusion is over, so you can run to submit, because you are waiting after doing research, you're waiting for that. No. So immediate action is not required. So normally what I do, I leave it for a week and even for a couple of weeks to read it carefully. I read it several times for its final adjustment, final tune, and I read it from different perspective, different aspect. Apart from this, if possible, I give it to my co-authors, my students. Even he or she is not the co-author of this paper, but I give it to them. Read it, find out if you see any flaw, it's logically weak, something is wrong. So they are my first reviewers, so they criticize it. and I need to correct it again. And it is also another concern that in many countries we are not English speaking. So always the proper English, a proper grammatically correct English sentences. There are a lot of flaws. In several countries, I've seen this one. Our India is one of them. So we can take help from our English experts, English teachers, English knowing friends, colleagues. Nothing wrong with that. So try to make it very, very professional. Well, then it is ready to submit. So once you submit, so half of the work is done. Half of the work is done. So now what to do? Well, I'm coming to the next part. I have some special remarks. Particularly, it is, I know that my talk is very boring to the experts and senior persons, and few are visible on the screen. It's very, very, very disappointing and boring. But for the newcomers, young researchers, so for them, that read paper of original researchers in your own field. So it is not possible to develop the skill in one day just by following such a lecture or similar type of article. No, it is a kind of practice. Extensively read papers of original researchers in your field. Read, follow and learn, read, follow and learn. That is the only way. And one day you will see that your own style, one skill will be developed. And what I'm sharing with you today, it is not one global rule. It is the style what I follow. It is the format, template. It is automatically built. So I'm sharing for your help. And you may break custom because always don't follow the custom. If required, you can use some unconventional things. So one example I can tell you that normally we don't use stable or exhaustive something in the introduction to establish your work, to justify your work. But one or two times I had to do it through extensive comparison that it is required, and that's why we did it. So this type of requirement, if it is really required, so you can try. It's acceptable. And most important is the passion. I did not write it. The passion and patience, both are required. If you have writing a paper is absolutely easy and exciting. So it is not a very painful thing. Don't take it a painful thing. If you think it is painful, then you cannot write. You'll have to love for writing, and that will automatically develop if you practice. If you read and practice, read and practice. It is a kind of game to you. So try, definitely it is going to help you. We submitted paper, so now it is our time to wait for reviewers' comment. That is a big suspense. What the reviewers are telling on your paper. Okay. So after you receive reviewers' comments, definitely within 2 months, or if it is later, within 1 month, you are expecting the review comments or decision on your paper will come, and don't get disappointed like this. Well, it may be rejected. That is the worst possible case. It is rejected. Nothing wrong with that. It is a part of game. So don't get disappointed. If it is rejected, either you accept the comment. That is, yes, your work is not of that standard. You have these flaws. So you'll have to work again. You'll have to improve again. So try to take it with right spirit. I have seen in my life that several reviewers are of outstanding quality, maturity, knowledge, and they have helped me a lot to learn new things, to do extra work, and to get new information, and that has improved my papers, even my learning. So it happens. So it may be rejected, but you are getting better inputs for your future. So you can improve the quality, the following their comment, and there is always a chance to resubmit your work with proper reasoning, reply, and improvement of the quality of the work. Or if you think that no, my work is okay, it is really good, and you don't accept the criticism in its in the sense they have rejected. So there is a scope of writing a rebuttal, that is, you are not accepting the comments and showing the reason. It is a peer review type, so the reviewers are not your boss, they are not superior to you. It is a peer group, so if he or she writes paper, then you will review it. So it is by the peer group. So it is quite uh, possible and quite obvious. So don't take it so seriously. It is disappointing, but don't be upset. Okay. So there are scopes to write your rebuttal to the editor. Now, if the paper is recommended, if they recommend revision, then it is your party time, that it is for major revision. They have accepted my concept, they have accepted my work, but they have some clarifications. It is the normal case. Even after the revision, you can find after 2-3 rounds of revisions, the final paper is rejected. So all are possible, but I'm telling you that is the commonly happening things. Fine, so you are happy, but you need to read the comments at least 3 to 4 times very carefully. Why? Because you need to do some extra works, that is revision, preparing your reply to every comment, and that part is equally important and serious. And when you are reading these comments, normally what happens, you will be disappointed or either you will be angry, because of course the reviewers are going to criticize your work, and all reviewers are not equally graceful. They may use different types of words or terms that is not acceptable to you, but it is not under your control. So take it in a positive spirit that they are criticizing technically. don't get disappointed. You need to write revisions, and that's why what is more important that keep your head cool. During revision, you should be more patient, more careful, and you need to enjoy your revision. I do. Sometimes it is very interesting that the comments are peculiar comments, but it is the art to write the reply to the uh, reviewers. And if you are really expert in this field, you will feel that it is your scope to show your expertise, your authority through your reply. So automatically the reviewers will understand that you really understand this subject and it is under your full control. Okay. So what to do? So read the comment and revise your manuscript. So there is a trick what I follow. I parallelly write author's reply. So it is easy for me to keep track on both. That is, I am replying and at the same time I'm going to revise. And any kind of change, any kind of addition that is to be highlighted in the text using red. It is recommended. That means once your revision will go, there will be some red mark, red highlighted part, and that will indicate that you have made the changes over this. What you have deleted, you cannot show, but what you have changed, edited, or added, that can be marked in red. You need to address all points. You agree or disagree. That means all comments, all suggestions. If you agree, you do it. If you disagree, still you need to write your reply. But there are some rules that I'm going to describe within a minute. And that's why I'm telling you the huge patience is required. Never do hurry in writing the revision. Sorry, if you feel tired, take a break. So during writing the revision, don't be hurry. Don't be impatient. Sometimes the reply is longer than the paper, but you will have to do it with patience and with passion. It is another aspect what I prefer, I follow, that when I write, when I respond to reviewer, I always address to editor-in-chief. I never write in the mode that thank you for your suggestion. No, because this gives me additional advantage, particularly if I disagree. So it is very difficult to write I disagree with you, but if you address the editor-in-chief, you can easily write that, well, I have read it, but still I believe it is not like that, and I respectfully disagree with the reviewer. It looks decent. So I follow this mode of replying. Now question is how to handle. That is another very tricky part. If you do not agree with the reviewer, or the reviewer is wrong or absolutely wrong, this is not unusual at all. It's a very common case. So how do you handle this? For the young, for very new authors, it's a bit embarrassing. But with time, you will learn how to address it. I'm just give you some tips. I already told you that we need to respond to every comment, every suggestion, and you will automatically face there are few comments, few suggestions are not really acceptable or meaningful. But your reply should be very polite and graceful. You may write to the editor-in-chief, but you are responding to a reviewer. So it should be polite and graceful. And do not use any word which indicates that the reviewer is wrong or reviewer is stupid. Never do. But you should write in a different way. So I'm showing few examples. In 3 different colors, I have shown 3 examples. So hopefully you are trying to keep the snapshots of the screen so you can keep it. So the sentence may be like this, that it might be due to some misunderstanding or the reviewer might have overlooked. However, we are trying to revise or address this in an elaborate way. Actually, you are trying to do something, but you are actually not doing something. So in this way, if the comment carries no meaning, so you'll have to deal it in very carefully. Or in this point, we beg to differ. Absolutely, when you are not accepting it, we beg to differ. We are confident enough. So it is very strong that the authors are very confident and they are not accepting the reviewer statement. Sometimes it happens. Or a different mild way, you can write that yes, we understand the point raised by the reviewer, but we still believe that. That also makes sense that you are not going to accept what reviewer said. So there's a different ways to tell that you are not very comfortable with accepting this reviewer's comments. So these are the normal things you will learn with your your time goes, you grow. So submit your revision and wait for the happy moment that your paper is accepted. Okay. So I'm not getting feedback directly. So
Yeah. So
Puneet,
thank you.
Puneet.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Thank you. So it was a really wonderful
So it is
session.
exactly 1 hour
I
30
hope I'm
minutes.
audible, sir.
Puneet, 1 hour 30 minutes I have covered, and now easy we can go for some question answering.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So thank you very much, sir. And you can see already Dr. Rao has joined you as a panelist.
Yeah.
So he
That's why I mentioned that it will be very boring to him.
no, but he is continuously in touch with me in WhatsApp and he's telling it is really excellent. So that's why he wanted to join this session. Then I sent him this link and then he could join
My
us
honor,
online.
because I know it is morning. He's from Los Angeles, so yeah, the time is probably morning, right? Around 6 o'clock or 6 to 7.
5:30.
Yeah.
My God, 5:30.
Yeah.
You have
So
any
good.
comment?
So thank you very much, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, Dr. Rao, you want to comment anything? We will take first your comments, then I will summarize it.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, it is about 5:30. I started, so I think it's. I think initially I thought I was skeptical whether to participate or not, but I think this is 2 hours. I think most useful time I've spent. I think I learned something from your presentation. It's very excellent. I think probably I attended several WebEx in the COVID-19, and this I would say is the best presentation I sort of heard, and most useful to mostly even myself, and also mostly to the young people who want to write the paper. I think you have covered all the points, but I have some few points I want to sort of get your opinion. I think it's mostly the information I think need to give to the young students. So
Yeah, please.
I think that writing the paper is very important for researchers, and if you are doing MS or PhD or even for professionals, because it will put you in an international level as an author. So what people do is I have been the associate editor for several years, so I know the experience. I think a lot of people write papers, but they get unhappy when rejected. But a rule of thumb is don't write the paper if you are not ready. So it's all you're the best judge of your work, and make sure that you're ready to write a paper. And if you are not ready, then don't write a paper. Second thing I think Professor Guha highlighted is abstract and conclusions are the key. So abstract should very briefly say what are the novelty about your paper, because that's one of the criteria the paper is being judged. So, and your paper should follow what you say in the abstract. So nothing more, nothing less. So of course, the abstract is very brief. So you substantiate in your paper the results by saying that, okay, this is a normal thing. It has wide bandwidth or compared to previous literature, etc. So you need to just follow the abstract and address in a more detailed way in the paper. About 45% of the papers are currently accepted in the IEEE, so which is very good chance. One in roughly two papers will get accepted, but you have to be right in a way, like Professor Guha mentioned very clearly, how to write a paper and how to sort of highlight your work in a concise way. Because most of the papers you see, sometimes you have about 15 pages, 16 pages, and I'm sure that reviewers get bored. So be concise and don't exceed. I think the short papers have a better chance of getting accepted. So other point I want to mention is you decide yourself whether it is a communication or a full paper. So if it is a communication, limit your paper to 4 to 5 pages, not more than that. And if it is a full paper you want to present, I think don't exceed about 9 or 10 pages. So I think that's be concise as much as possible. And like Professor Guha said, they don't get disappointed if it is rejected. Generally, I think you will have either accept. So it's not very common that on the first trial itself your paper is accepted. That's probably less than 2%. And most of them fall in the category either minor revisions or major revisions or reject. So if it is minor and major, I think that's actually a good thing. So that also gives you a chance to see what the reviewers are saying, and you can improve on your paper itself. I think sometimes revisions are better than getting accepted in the first shot. So because you can improve your paper based on previous comments. I think that's all I have. I think finally I want to say that spend sufficient time on the paper. Don't hurry to submit the paper, and get your peers also review the paper and give their comments before you submit. So I think that's all I have, and I'll let other people to panelists to comment on or give additional tips to the uh, attendees. Thanks again, Professor
Yeah,
Guha and Puneet, for making this happen. I think this is the most useful 2 hours I spent, and I learned few things. So I'll start writing anyway. Another paper.
No, I have some comments on your comments that you have rightly pointed out. Few things I missed out, and really the paper not be too lengthy. I already told, and there's a page size, page length. This is given in the right? But always the very compact paper always has a chance to be accepted, and he's rightly mentioned that at the beginning I told that if you feel comfortable, if you are confident about your work that is publishable in that journal or in IEEE transactions, then only you can write. So all your efforts, what you're giving for writing paper, that is the additional thing, but the main content of the work should be solid, original, and worth publishing. Finally, it will be justified you'll have to justify, and that is to be verified by the reviewers. And rejected, there are mainly three categories Dr. Rao rightly indicated to you. Either it will be rejected or revisions. There are two categories. One is major revision and minor revision. Minor revision means it is almost accepted with minor comments, and IEEE AP transactions, particularly one transaction statistics I know, in a year it is maximum hardly one or two accepted as minor revision. So most cases it is major revision. So major revision is actually means revision, and you'll have to queries, questions, comments. So Dr. Rao has indicated some more additional points for the attendees. Thank you. Thank you for your presence particularly. Yeah, in the early morning. But you got a cup of tea, I saw.
Yes, I needed that. I have to be sharp and I have to be awake, so I have to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you,
Yes,
Professor Guha, and thank you, Dr. Rao, for joining us on this very, very wonderful session. And I'm getting a lot of positive feedback in the chat window as well as on my WhatsApp message. And we are thankful to Professor Guha that he has started his presentation and not ended at the point where paper are being submitted and you wait for the results, because most of the presentations on paper writing will end there. But the most important thing is once paper is being submitted and it is reviewed and rejected, which Dr. Rao has rightly said that 98% time it is going to be rejected, or minor revision or major revision, then the real story starts. Because first time writing the paper is somewhat okay and people are very, very enthusiastic in writing those papers. However, the moment they see there is a revision or a rejection, their full passion and enthusiasm goes to, I can say, 10 dB down. But the real story starts there, and they have to really work on that point. And then if they are submitting all the points raised by the reviewers, they are incorporating in those papers, they are improving the paper, then the second time chances of getting is accepted is really high, and as high as 70% time it is going to be accepted. So I like that portion where you have not ended your presentation once paper is submitted, then wait for the results. However, you continued and you have given very, very important information how one should write the remarks given by whether it is a rebuttal or you are updating the papers or you are enhancing the paper. So those things are really very important, and which most of the people don't know. But those things are going to make the real change in the acceptance or rejections of those papers. So thank you very much, and we are really honored to have two associate editors in one single webinar and providing all this very, very informative information. And just to inform you, we have touched 1,000 plus attendees marks, And so you can see that how important it is. And we are having lot of questions in the Q&A session, sir. If you agree and if you have time, I would like to take a few questions so that you can answer them.
Yes, yes, Puneet, I'll be happy.
Thank you,
And if
sir.
it is really going to help them, then it is worth. Otherwise, it is just a kind of one-way talking. So I hope few are really very serious and they're interested. Okay, so I'm happy to address their questions.
Yeah. So first question I can see, sir, here from Bhaskar. He is asking what is writing how to write a paper for IEEE letters. So he wants to know the difference between transaction and letters.
Oh, okay. So that is a good question. I'm going to address the next question. You give me at least 2 3 questions together.
Okay. So what are the standards, quality, what type of work acceptable, and how much percentage results? I think this is already being answered. Okay, then
Really,
actually there are,
very
yeah,
relevant, very relevant question. Okay, so I'm trying to address this too.
yes, sir.
The second question has a huge perspective and it is very important. So
Yeah,
I'm addressing second question first. That
okay.
which work I can write. And how do I know that my work is really good or bad? So there are two things. One is based on your experience. That's why we need one supervisor. So during that period when you are doing PhD, so it is a kind of training you will be exposed to this world and you will be able to understand the quality of work and which quality of work is going to be published in which journal. That is essential. If we don't have this experience, it is a kind of experience and you can gather is over 5 6 years of time. So if you don't have, you contact, you show your work, and I am to do in my field. I am to do for my many friends, colleagues, collaborators. So I am to do. So just take their suggestion that this work is good for IEEE journal or not. But here is one question: the self filtering is not a good idea. You yourself cannot, if you cannot judge, you take other self or real expert self. If you alone just judge it, though no, my work is not publishable, this is not the right thing, because sometimes you may do mistake and you may lose chance to publish your paper in top journals. So self filtering is not a good idea. Try to judge it that your work is really, or you can just try once, submit, submit, prepare and submit to transaction and try and see what kind of feedback or what kind of comments you are getting. Rejection is a part of this, part of the game. So by this way, you yourself, you will understand which work is really publishable and which is not. And also I'm coming to to later, that is short paper. There are 3 categories I'm telling you. One is exclusively letter, another is paper and short paper. Paper means full paper. Full paper is a complete work and elaborate work. Short paper's basic idea is to extend some work towards the development. That is, you have developed some new concept or you have improved some technique. So for this, it will be limited to 3, 4 to 5 pages. So that will be considered as a short paper. Even the full 5-page length, but it's will be different. That is the completeness or newness of the work. That is the novelty of the work of different type. And those works will go as full paper. And for later we'll see the particularly, it is not always followed, but the basic idea is that how contemporary it is. That is how important it is to be published first. And how contemporary, how state of the art status. Based on that, it is decided it's going to letter or full journal. But sharp demarcation is very difficult to give. So you'll have to decide if it is a traditional work and kind of extension of work, the improvement type of work, then definitely it is better to go for short paper, not as letter. In letter, the novelty of the work, idea of the work, and its relevance of the work, that is important.
Yeah, thank you, sir. So next question is, please point out the common mistakes due to which even good ideas end up getting rejected in research paper.
Oh, good question. My answer is just in one sentence, that it is not put in proper way. That means it is your fault. You you could not present the work, or you could not present, or you could not convince the reviewer that your work is novel. So it is your duty. It is not reviewer's duty to find out the novelty. It is your duty to cater the novelty, or expose the novelty, or highlight the novelty of the work and convince them. So it is the writing of the paper in a proper way. That's why writing is very important. So your work is important, and this work will go to the international community through top journals. That is also your responsibility, and it is your duty to put in proper way.
Thank you, sir. Now, next question is, shouldn't one decide the title based on the content in the paper? Shouldn't the title highlight the paper?
I cannot get the question.
Should not one decide the title based on the content in the paper?
Of course, it is the content of the paper.
Yes.
Title is the abstract of the abstract. So that by reading the title, I can understand what is inside the paper, or what is the basic focus of the work.
Yeah, so that you have already told in the presentation itself.
Yes.
So that's why I am not taking it again. And now next question is, what is the difference between the critical review and a systematic review? Okay, they want to know this. Critical
Critical.
review and systematic review.
No, I have not used this term systematic review. It is systematic writing.
Yeah.
Systematic writing. That is, when you are writing, telling the story, or writing your work, it has to be presented in a systematic way, not in a haphazard way, so that a reader or a reviewer can easily follow what you want to say. I did not tell anything about critical review. Review is always critical. But writing should be systematic.
Yeah. So next question is, from should the number of figures be restricted or it should go to any extent? I received a comment in a paper to make number of figures should be less than 10 or 12 in a full length article.
Well, it is a very interesting question. Sometimes we cannot restrict ourselves. We increase the number of figures. Sometimes number of figures is important. Some figures are really important. So you'll have to make a balance. And if your number of figures is too high, then obviously your writing space will be less. So your text, sufficient text should be there to discuss the results. Sometimes you better do, I understand your point. You generate the results, you do all sorts of studies, you keep it with it, but don't. That's why we always try to write or try to indicate that only representative results have been furnished, not all results. No author can write, no author can give all these results. So it is the representative results. And if it is really important to tell about the other results, you just mention about the results in the text. Don't put as results.
Yes.
So you'll have
Yes.
to judge, and you'll have to choose that which figures I'm going to put as figures and which results or their content I'm just going to discuss in text. Then you can solve your problem.
Thank you, sir. Now
Yeah.
we will go to the next question.
Yes.
Question is, in many research, we does not have enough experimental analysis. My question is, can we verify and validate our finding by other means like theoretical ways?
I don't understand it is from which branch the question is, probably from computer science, where algorithm based. So in that case, or there are many areas where experiments directly or elaborate experiments are not possible. Well, in that case, you need to tell, you'll have to, anyhow, you have to verify your results, right? So either based on some theoretical basis or some additional simulators or anyone's available data, earlier published data. So any kind of validation tool you need to find out and compare with your results, not for the whole results or whole studies, but at least some testing so that you can do. It is a kind of validation that your work, your prediction is correct.
Yes, true. Very true. Now we will go to quickly next question, sir. He is asking how to distinguish to write about the work in abstract, introduction and conclusion so that it would not look like repetitive statements.
Yeah. So again, you write the question. Read the question.
How to distinguish to
Uh-huh.
write about the work in abstract, introduction and conclusion so that it would not look like repetitive statement.
Okay. I think he's absolutely novice, the very young student. Someone has said. Okay. So uh, you might have followed that I have told that first you write introduction. Introduction means you are going to introduce your work. So in your field, you try to read some standard papers, at least 10, and their introductions. You have to give time. There is no shortcut. Then you can find what should be the format of introduction, what to be written, that you write. Okay. In the abstract, you will write only about the significant part of your work. It is the summary of the work, abstract of the work, where you are not going to refer to any previous works. Okay. In introduction, we start with previous works, but in abstract, we directly hit, we have done this, or this works, or this work investigates this. This is the novelty, this is the result. That's all. So writing introduction is very special, very tricky. So you'll have to learn in your own field. But abstract means it is your work only, and the last sentence will tell about the significance and significant observation of your work, which is important. And it has to be quantitative. That is, it is saving time. It is fast. If it is fast, by how many minutes, how many seconds? Or if it is if it is an antenna, then it is the gain is high, x dB, y dB. So this type of parametric value you'll have to tell. So abstract and introduction, those are fine. Conclusion. In conclusion, after when your work is done, then you will write your concluding remarks. What you wrote up to this, its abstract or summary part you already have told in abstract. So that untold part, if you have any, you start from that this work has been done carefully and giving this result, but unfortunately we could not address this part because of the shortage of this. Anyway, we believe that this work will be applicable to this part. So this type of statement is very important. Your honest confession, not only your strength, the weakness, your limitation, all this related work, if you want to share with others, that you can tell. There is no scope of writing this type of statement in any part of the paper. So it is your own domain. Next question. Next question.
Yeah, I was on mute, so I will.
Yeah.
So many times when we implemented others' work, we are not able to reproduce the same results. What are your views on this?
Well, so it is a tricky thing. If you want to compare your results with their results, their graph, then it is really difficult. Somehow you'll have to extract either manually, or nowadays there are several techniques by which you can extract the raw data, or in a table you can compare just by manual reading these values. This is the x, y, what are the different parameters, you just note and compare with yours. Direct reproduction is not possible. You'll have to extract the data, and when you are comparing this, you will have to refer to that it is from this reference. That is acceptable.
Yeah, another very interesting question is being asked.
Yes.
Is it recommended to use the graphical abstract? He's asking.
Graphical abstract means I cannot get his question.
So he's asking whether it is recommended to use the graphical abstract, means using graphs.
No. In abstract is just the text.
Yeah.
Abstract is just the text. No graphical extract is possible.
Yeah, I am seeing lots of questions on being asked on review papers. So, sir, can you just elaborate on review papers and what should be included and how it should be written? I have left almost 4 or 5 questions, but again, it is repeatedly being asked. So I thought that okay.
So regarding review paper, I am telling one thing. That review paper is normally written by top experts, and the person who is going to write a review paper, he or she definitely has that expertise. So this question will not come from them. So I think it is coming from the students who are trying to write some review papers. I won't encourage any novice or the beginners to write a review paper. If you write a review paper, definitely you will have some big boss with you. So he or she may guide you how to write the review paper. I'm not commenting on review paper. Review paper is totally different thing. I'm just now talking about how you represent your work for the top journal, your own contribution or original contribution.
Yeah, so sir, we have already reached 8 o'clock. We will take only 1 or 2 more questions and we will end the session because I know You are waiting to
I
go
have
home.
I have a question. The Puneet, are they satisfied, or they have some any confusion in the remarks? What is the essence actually?
Yeah, no.
Just
So most of the people they have written the session is very, very excellent and it is very useful for them. And most of the time, beginners they have told that now they can understand how to write paper and they can start writing and they are very sure that they will be able to publish paper in near future. So that is the most important feedback I am getting
I
from.
am I'm very very happy to interact with you with the big group of new researchers, enthusiastic researchers. So I'll conclude just by telling my personal experience that uh, why this type of presentation I had to prepare. It is on pressure, and I did not know about this. Some point of time, a few years ago, one National Institute of Engineering somehow pressed me to come and to give such a talk. And based on my experience, what I'm telling it is just an extended part of that one. I prepared and I flew to that part, that institute, and it is after it is the working days after the classes are over. It is a long session for 2.5 hours. Just there's a huge introduction, mainly all faculty members, teachers and professors, few students. Few professors and lady professors, they came with their some problems and showed me the hard copies. And the personally we talked. First, first round is the overall discussion, presentation, this and that. Then one-to-one discussions, and they were facing some problems. And particularly, Puneet, you have rightly pointed out that most important for the experienced person is the second part. For the newcomers, the first part is more important than the second part. But those who are experienced, the second part is more vital. Anyway, so they discussed, and I gave some tips that you'll have to write in this way, reply, revision, this and that. So I again in the morning they came, and I showed, I read. So with patience, I did this thing. Just after a few months, I got an email with a copy of paper published in IEEE transaction. I'm not naming the particular transaction, not in my field. It is another domain of electronics. So one lady professor, she was very overwhelming response, and mail later. After a couple of years, when I visited the same institute, not only that lady, she showed two more papers published in, it is probably electron device, I remember. And along with that, additional 3 professors came there published to work in IEEE journal. So publishing in a journal, that is a bottleneck, that is the things to be followed. And when they recognize that they followed my experience, actually, not my talk, I shared my experience, and they became successful. So I'm telling all of you that definitely you will be successful. It is not like some kind of verdict or some kind of statements. What I told, it is based on my experience, my painful experience rather.
Yes, sir.
So
Thank
best
you.
wishes, my very best wishes to all of you,
Yeah.
although we cannot see each other, so only one-sided. And I'm
Yeah.
very grateful to Dr. Rao in such a senior person, and the world-renowned expert and mentor too. He's a very passionate researcher, and he was present in the morning in Los Angeles, and it was 5:30 morning.
Yeah.
Amazing. I'm really honored and encouraged.
Yeah, so after seeing both of you, I switched off my video so that it should not look odd that two world-renowned persons and in also there. So that's why I switched off my video for the time being.
No,
But
Puneet, I appreciate your effort and your help for the young people, the true passionate researchers. So my very best wishes for all of you.
yeah, just I will conclude, sir. I have already received a few comments. One wonderful comment is there. Definitely, sir, we are going to publish papers very soon and send you the copy. That type
Very
of
good.
comment is already there.
Very good. Very good.
And at IEEE Bangalore section, we firmly believe that we as Indian, we are having a lot of potential. Only thing we are not getting the right platform and guidance. So since last several weeks, we are trying to organize this type of webinar where we can bring experts like you, who has devoted their life for organizing as well as writing this kind of papers. And when we get the experts like you, the kind of experience which you share is tremendous and really helpful for our members. So thank you very much, sir, on behalf of IEEE Bangalore section as well as on my own behalf. We are thankful to you for sharing your expertise, knowledge, and time, most importantly, time. And I'm also very thankful to Dr. Rao, who, without any invitation, he got somehow this information and voluntarily joined us and provided his perspective. Thank you very much, sir. And at the end, not, last but not the least, to all the participants, I can see there are still more than 800 participants attending this
Yes.
webinar. Uh, so thank you
Yes.
very much to all of you for
No,
joining
thank
us.
you.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
And we will
Thank you.
end today. If you are having any questions, please write to me. I will forward your questions to Professor Guha, and he will be
Yeah.
more than happy to answer this. If you have missed any part of this presentation, don't worry. We have recorded this presentation, and it will be available to the IEEE Bangalore section YouTube channel. You can visit our YouTube channel and see again repeatedly n number of times this presentation. So all your problems hope answered. Thank you very much. See you tomorrow at 7 p.m. with new expert on a new topic very soon. Thank you. Have a good day and good night.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. For you, a good day. That's why I told a good day and a good night. So
Good
people
night.
residing in US, there is a good day, and part from South Asia and Japan, because I can see people from Japan and Indonesia. They have also joined this session.
So whole globe. So good night and good day.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.